Welcome to Brand Lover, honest, real and lively conversations for flourishing entrepreneurs and budding business owners on a mission to cultivate a heartfelt brand that connects with their purpose-driven mission. My hope is that you walk away feeling inspired and refreshed with a weekly takeaway in your back pocket that you can apply to your life or business. So welcome to another fun episode of Brand Lover. I'm very excited to introduce you to this beautiful lady who I've known for a few years now, and it's been an absolute pleasure and honor seeing her evolve and grow, which I'm very excited to explore today. Sally Harding.
Hello.
South Australian local celebrity in business circles. The name will be very familiar. Mum of two, fitness instructor, founder of SA Mums in Business, networking business, and most recently, director of KX Pilates Christies Beach. Yay. How exciting. So thanks, Sally. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to hand over to you right now and just ask you to tell us about you in your own words. Who is Sally Harding?
What a question. I feel like I would have had such a different answer to this question a couple of years ago, but I think most people would be the same with COVID times.
Yes.
I am a mum of two, obviously. I'm from Kangaroo Island, so country girl at heart. I moved to Adelaide when I was still quite young, so I feel like I matured quite early. I had my kids quite young, well, what some would say young as a country girl, probably not so young, but mid-20s. And yeah, I think I am someone I'm a total empath. I absolutely love supporting other women. I have really tight, beautiful friend groups and, childhood friends that are phenomenal but don't live close. So I think that that's sort of always been the way that I've gone about life, is just trying to meet and create new friendships and support groups and spread women's empowerment around the people around me, because I didn't have my tight-knit friend groups close by while I was navigating motherhood. So I think that the best way to describe me is I'm an absolute empath that just loves supporting other women and connecting with other people, because I love to just be around other women and feel the energy of other people and just celebrate each other. So it's kind of been the way I've navigated all of my businesses and decisions, has always come back to the same core values. Yeah, I feel like I'm not someone that can describe myself very well.
You did a beautiful job, because that's how I know you and that's how I see you, and I think that's just honest and it's beautiful, and I love that you've highlighted that as the motivator. And you did mention businesses, so
yeah.
Was entrepreneurship always on the cards for you, and how did it all begin?
Such a good question. I actually started my career when I was 18, and it was in hairdressing. Funnily enough, I was hairdressing. I did a makeup course. I hit fourth year in an apprenticeship, so that took me to about 22, and I just decided that I couldn't do it anymore. I just didn't enjoy it, and that was probably like the first time in my life that I was ever like, I'm going to go against the grain here and disappoint, which wasn't really disappointing, but I thought, I'm going to disappoint everyone because I don't care, and I'm going to quit my apprenticeship because I knew I didn't want to do it. I had a drive for fitness, which is funnily enough come back full circle now.
Yes.
And I started a personal training course. I quit my apprenticeship, fully did a career swap, and that is when I sort of started, as you could say, an entrepreneur. It kind of just was a bit of a snowball effect from when I was about 22 up till now, still going at 30. I've just been through so many different directions in business and gone and pivoted between a few of them at different times, trying to navigate where I want to settle, which has brought me to now where I am. But I obviously did my personal training. I started a personal training business out of a gym. Quite quickly realized I was probably not doing as well as I could be if I wasn't in a gym. So I invested in the equipment and we opened privately. Quite quickly realized there was more money in group fitness. I just started to learn so many different things about business while I was living it.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that I've had so much success as a sole trader, just me, myself, I've never expanded further than that because maybe I like my own company, I don't know, but I just, I think it's because I've always seen when something's not working and I've not been afraid to just be like, well, that's not working, I'm changing that.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what started the journey into founding SA Mums in Business, is that I was in a successful personal training business and quite quickly realized that there was a massive gap in Adelaide for networking and support for mums in business. And I was seeing a lot of communities that were gathering that were just women in business and or just people in business, but there was nothing specific for mums. And my daughter was 8 months old and I had an older son, and I just thought that I'll get a bunch of my clients that were mums and see if we wanted to do an event. They were all very keen, and then their friends and friends of friends and friends were keen. And I started SA Mums in Business from that. So then I had 2 businesses at once, all of a sudden.
Two businesses and 2 babies, because why not?
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, as a, you know, I would say an entrepreneur then, I was just bouncing between the 2. I couldn't quite really settle on one. I just found it really hard to let one go or let one thrive and the other one suffer a bit because of the energy was going one direction. And then I've just for about 2 years bounced off both, and was happy doing so.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, what I know that you saw the gap and you identified a need, obviously, that was, you know, for yourself, even as a young business owner with children in tow, navigating that whole world. And you mentioned that you thrive on connection and empathy and supporting others as well is something that fills you up. But what made you decide that this was a good idea to start a second business, especially when your youngest was 8 months old? Did you realize what you were getting yourself into?
No way. I've said this at many events, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners would be people that have connected with me at an event or maybe have thought of coming to an event, and we've had a conversation. I've spoke to thousands of women in just DMs that had never got to an event over the 2 and a bit years that I was running them. But I never expected it to be a business. The first event wasn't a business. It was an event that I was running kind of out of my fitness business, you could say. Like, you know, you're set up with an ABN, you're running a small business, and I hosted an event. So obviously it you know, people attended and I paid for it and took tickets and stuff, and it was a business transaction, but I never thought that it would become something that needed a separate business name. Like the event was called SA Mums in Business. It was not that was going to become a business name. It was, I think, maybe just before, it's a bit hazy, it was either just before the event or as soon as it was over that I said to my partner, like, I think I need to go and like register this business name, like out of fear that someone was going to be like, shit, this is really
this is a good idea.
I'm going to do this. I was petrified that someone would like get in underneath there. So no, I registered the business name like after the tickets had sold. I was like, there's going to be more of these. I didn't really know what it was going to do. I had no idea what it needed. I was just like, something is needed here. Yeah, so I definitely fell into having two businesses, and it was after the first event, so we had 80 women come to that first one at Partridge House, that I went on a very first holiday after having my daughter with my husband, without the kids. And I spent like 3 days by the pool working from my phone.
Yeah.
And like a Hotmail, I think it was like Mums in Business essay at Gmail or something.
Yeah.
People were emailing me to reserve a ticket for the next one. I hadn't even set a date. And before I left Cairns, I had like 150 people in a notebook, handwritten in a notebook. No way to figure out how I was going to sell them tickets. Like I had no idea how Eventbrite worked. I just had no idea what I was doing. I had everything handwritten. I was writing back to every email, every DM. I remember the page just like went up like 1,000 followers, and like, this is like, you got to remember, like, this is like 3 days and I had like 0 people on Instagram. So it was just like, it was so overwhelming because it was Adelaide. It wasn't like your social media that's, you know, your personal one, or like even yours, Rach, you can reach anyone in the world doing what you're doing. You can help anyone with branding anywhere, no matter where they are. But it was events in Adelaide. So to know that there were thousands of people straight away keen, it was so overwhelming. And like, you could check your stats. I had like 99.8% of an Adelaide following. So I was like, I'm hitting the target market. Like, I just had absolutely no idea what to do with that. And it was when I got back from my holiday that I reached out to a couple of consultants and business coaches and things, and friends that I had. And it was a very personal coffee catch-ups where I was like, what do I do? Like, I don't know. I don't have the money to invest. Like, I had, 0 money. Like, the event tickets paid for the event. I didn't take a profit, but I was like, this is a profitable business, but I don't know what to do here. Like, is events enough? It was just such a strange time. So that's when my PT business kind of got pushed to the side, because I was like, well, this works really well around my kids, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even host the first event. I had an MC. I had beautiful Kate Whiting. She hosted as the MC for me. And I remember talking on the mic for like 10 minutes, and I had everyone being like, we'd love to see more of you at the next one.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. And so from that one on, I hosted them all and emceed them all. And I enjoyed it, the adrenaline rush. Like, I just thrived on feeling nervous, and I just loved it. Yeah.
So you kind of accidentally built a personal brand around business as well.
Yeah, I definitely did. I had my PT business for about, I don't know, like 8 years. And I had like a thriving business. Like, I had tons of clients. I was completely booked back to back. I had the most loyal, beautiful clients. But it was when I started SA Mums that I had people that would like be like, oh, you're the Sally from SA Mums. And I was like, it's so weird. Like, I'm no famous. I'm not a celebrity. I wasn't even like popular on social media, but it was just like, people knew SA Mums. And when I said what I did, like, 4 out of 5 people to the day would still be like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. You're that Sally. Yeah. So it was really weird. But it never felt like it was about me either, which was really, really weird. People knew me, but they knew the business as a community, not as a person. Yeah,
I understand that. And just so beautiful. And then help the listeners navigate them through, I guess, what came next, because it was not long after that. It was about a year after that when did you sort of get into the groove of hosting these events, when lo and behold, a global pandemic where we couldn't actually host events. So how did you navigate that?
I feel like the pandemic in itself was bad for everybody, right? But there was it was probably the pandemic that almost threw me into thinking about what was in the future and whether I enjoyed what was going to have to happen in the future. We've talked about why I did it and my values, and, you know, my core values have stayed with me for like my whole business career, and they're still the same now, and they take me into the next journey, like supporting others, women's empowerment, or just empowerment in general to the population of the world. Like people that are around me, I want them to feel supported, empowered, and ready to do whatever they set their sights on. I carry that with me wherever I go, and I'm face to face. Like that's just me. Like this is like Zoom is great, and I'm sitting here looking at Rach while I'm talking, but it's not the same, right? And we had obviously everyone on Zoom, and everyone that is so knowledgeable in business and branding, like yourself, marketing, business coaches, mentors, all of it. We're talking about pivoting, and everyone's pivoting. And I'm sitting back being like, well, not only do I need a pivot, but I also am getting tons of messages from business owners that are panicked. And as an empath, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can emotionally hold space for these women. And so I had to step back for a week or so and just like look after my kids, you know, without going into too much detail. My daughter's very asthmatic, so there's like the whole situation of not being able to send her to childcare because specialists are telling me not to. And so I've got, all of a sudden, I've got my kids at home, like everybody. But I was also getting everyone else's stress on me without them meaning to. So
yes, because you've been thrown into this position.
Yeah, it's a community.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like, what do I do? It was just like, we have a Facebook group, and, you know, Sandra and Jess still have that great Facebook group going, and it's a support network online. And it would be like, how are you feeling today? It'd be like comment after comment of like, I lost this, I just dropped out of this deal, I just had to spend this money, can't get a refund. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't actually know. I had a fitness business and an events-based business. So I've lost both of those like everybody else, but I'm also trying to give people positive reinforcement, and it's like not needed. It wasn't going to benefit anyone, me being like, you'll be okay. Yeah. Because I'm like, I don't know. And people aren't stupid either. We're all mums, we're all old enough to know that, like, you know, we don't know what's going on. We can't navigate it ourselves. And, you know, when you're feeling a bit uneasy and someone tells you it'll be okay, you kind of like, don't say that to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little patronizing.
Yeah. So I just had I had a lot of reflection time where I was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to go about it? And yeah, it was really quite emotional and stressful. And then I thought, you know, I'll use my the skills that I believe I've got and that other people believed that I had, and I invested back in myself. I had been over the years coming, and I launched into a little bit of a mentorship space, a really small group of women that I'd worked with closely before. And that's when I started doing a little bit of one-on-one with people, more along the lines of being able to navigate them into the right place, if they had websites to build or needed help in specific areas. I would, you know, sit down, have a session with them via Zoom and help them navigate where they could go, because I have this massive network of business owners that can support, but it's like they don't know where to find the help. And I was that trusting ear that could help navigate it. And then a lot of people's problems were confidence-based or something that I could help with. So that was a nice period of time. And then we launched back into events in November, and I held an event. We had our event in November, which was 60 people because of COVID restrictions. So there was like that square meter issue where we couldn't have too many, but it made the event really intimate. It was the first sit down we had. It was just very different, but it was great. But it was a big eye-opener to me that it was going to be different from this point onwards, and that doing that as frequent as I had been was not going to happen. Like there was no way. People were not just not able to get out because of we were restricted, but then also there was a massive majority of people that just wouldn't, because they didn't feel safe too. So I'd lost a lot of clients because of their fear of being unwell and being having to go into quarantine. So it was just like a reality check that the world's different now, and the way that I structured the business wasn't going to be sustainable. So I did continue to do a couple more. I believe we did Christmas, and then we had a small intimate event, which is probably still to this day my favorite, little brunch. And then I had an event in May, which was this year, May 21, with Mem Fox, and it was amazing, and probably the first one in a while that didn't have any COVID real restrictions, because we weren't wearing masks at that stage, but it was people were able to just they were able to be a bit more close, able to stand up and get a drink and things like that. And I kind of just felt like this is the one to go out with. Like I remember being there and just feeling so great, and just being like, if I'm gonna step away, I think it's got to be this event. That's the last one. And I almost had a little bit of regret that I didn't make that a little bit more clear, or just, I feel like at that event, if I had any regrets, I think I did talk about like my goals, my future, what I want to see for SA Mums, what I'm trying to encourage, and my vision and all of that, which is what I did at every event. But I almost feel like people might have felt a little bit deceived by what came after, because I did not let on to anyone that this would happen. And when it did happen and I sold, there was a lot of people that were quite shocked. Everyone was very supportive, but quite shocked, like just had no idea that would be what's coming. I just feel like it would have been nice to have an event to let everyone know what was going on with me personally. Like we all know now, probably if you followed me along the journey. So I'm about to open a business in January, which is so exciting, as Rach mentioned at the start, the KX Pilates in Christies Beach. I'm in partnership with someone I've worked so closely with for 2.5 years now, as a dear friend of mine. And that sort of came about 6 months prior to selling, which was about 4 months before the event we had in May. And that sort of was the outcome of me realizing that COVID had changed the way that I structured SA Mums, and that what it needed was not something that I was passionate enough to provide. So I had obviously a massive fitness background. I had a fitness business that I'd let slide for SA Mums in Business, which was the right decision then. And then COVID made me rethink that, because I was going to have to completely restructure what I loved about SA Mums to make it work. So it made money, because we got to feed our kids. And I just didn't really want to go down that road, because, I've said many times in this podcast, but I absolutely love connection, face-to-face connection. I love feeling people's energy and being surrounded by them. And it was just not the way that it was going to be in the future. So obviously I went down the path of selling SA Mums in Business after that. And it was the right move for me, purely because I was able to seek out the new owners. And it was a decision that I made based on who they were as people. I almost could say that I'm 100% positive now that if I hadn't done that back then, I don't really know if it would still be going, or if someone would be resurrecting something from nothing and having to start something brand new name, find the community again, and potentially see the gap again and start from scratch. So the way that Sandra and Jess, who are the new owners of SA Mums in Business, I'm sure everybody knows that. The way that they're going about it now is amazing, and it's exactly what it needed. And I could see that a year ago and just knew that that's not what I was up for.
It wasn't aligned for you anymore.
No.
I love that you recognized that and were able to let that go.
Yeah, I mean, it's just this evolution of everything, and it's never going to stay the same forever, and you need to evolve and change. And as we know, pivot was the word of 2020.
Pivot and adapt.
Yeah. I did pivot, but I pivoted. I didn't pivot the business. It was just that for me personally as a person. I was like, this isn't the way that I want to see my future go. And Brain, my son, he's 5, he's starting school next month, and I was almost like more busy and stressed trying to navigate how I would outsource the things I didn't like doing for SA Mums in Business, so I didn't have to do them. But it was almost stressing me out more, figuring out how I'm going to outsource all these different things. Like, if I was just to step back and let someone else completely take control, that was almost less stressful, much more emotional, but it felt like a bit of peace for everyone. And I'm very good at moving away from something when it doesn't work. And like I've talked
clearly,
my history, it's a strength of mine is to just kind of be like, that's, you know, it's not giving up. And I think that's what's important, like for other people. Like if you feel like it's not working and you're going to step away, there's such a difference between being like, this is too hard, I give up, hands in the air. For me, it's been like, this doesn't feel right, I'm not aligned with this anymore, it's not working for my family, it's not making me happy, it makes me feel XYZ. If I can make it work by doing something different, then why wouldn't I do that? And just honoring myself in the community made me so happy. The history I had with SA Mums made me so happy. I have so many proud memories, like hit so many business milestones, things I never thought I would get to experience. I got so many opportunities that were presented to me that didn't eventuate because of COVID, but just like I could really feel that this was so much bigger than me, and it didn't need me to keep going. It just needed like people that were willing to do the work to change the structure of the business, and they've done that amazingly, and I really commend them for it. And I love following along because it is amazing.
So this, like, I sort of see it as the strength isn't found in plugging away at something that doesn't feel aligned for you anymore. You know, that real strength comes from recognizing what's actually going to light you up and letting go. And that, even though it's hard, it's incredible. Like I can see it in you since we've chatted after. It's incredibly empowering. So I guess my last question would be, after having gone through this incredible journey for the last 10 years even, what would you recommend to someone who's currently running, let's say, a successful business, but maybe they're feeling like you and they're feeling like they're having to fit, maybe they're like a square peg in a round hole, not finding that it no longer aligns with their own personal values and life vision. Perhaps they're feeling a little bit of pressure because this was what they started and they feel like they have to finish it because society tells us that's what we should do. What would you recommend to them? What would you say to this lady?
I always think about this type of stuff because I feel like when I started to think about pivoting around COVID and what it needed, I was listening to a lot of external noise. It wasn't coming from me. I was thinking, like, my head was saying it needs this, but I was never going to action it. And then I would have an external party be like, this is what you should do. And I'd be like, yes, that's exactly what I've been thinking. I'll do it. And then a week later, I'd be like, this is so stressful. Why am I even doing this? I don't enjoy it. And it's like, I'm wasting, like, not wasting, but I'm spending 8 hours of the day when I could be doing other things that I enjoy, but I'm doing this because this person said it would be good for the business. So I found myself like that. And I always think about other people now that would be just living that type of situation. I think it's so important to completely block out any other external noise that you're hearing about your business, because it is not about other people, and it's always just going to be your problem. Like, it, no matter what happens with your business and how successful you are and how many people you help, which is amazing, it's always just going to be your problem and your family around you. If you're not happy and your family is not happy, but everyone else out there is happy because you're, you know, giving them what they need, and you're on social media and you're giving them all these amazing free things, and your business is killing it, and, you know, you've got free ebooks and workbooks and courses and things going on, and you're sitting there chugging it out, super miserable. Why are you doing what you're doing, and how much longer are you going to be able to do it for? I honestly have just always trusted my gut, listened to my head, but then kind of followed my heart with everything, regardless of what my head's saying. Like, if you're sitting there and it's a financial reason, find a solution, because you will. Like, I can't tell you the amount of times that I've gone without income for a period of time, but somehow made it work because of my happiness and my mental health and my family's mental health. No money is worth that for me. And I think that COVID could teach us a lesson with that. We all can survive if we really put our mind to it, if it is really important to us. Money should never be the reason that we're doing something we don't enjoy. I can't even explain to you, like, I have invested quite literally all of my savings. We have sold things we love. We have worked our butts off for things and now sold them to open the business I am opening next month. And there is not a bone in my body that is annoyed that I'm driving a little Corolla from 2000 because it's not forever. And I am just so incredibly happy to be living something I thought was incredibly impossible. You know, to have a beautiful team we've put together now that is going to open with us, and to be, you know, giving the southern community of Adelaide the opportunity to experience the brand that I love, and be a part of that growth in SA. It's something I never thought I'd be able to do because of money. So for me to give up businesses that I built from the ground because I wasn't scared of, you know, potentially having no income for a little bit and having to navigate like random little bits of payday here and there, I know that it's going to pay off because I'm doing what I absolutely love and enjoy it. Like, if I don't look like I'm enjoying it, other people aren't going to want to be a part of it or around me. But also, if I'm not passionate and love what I'm doing, I'm not going to sell to anyone. No one would come to, you know, I can just imagine me right now, like, trying to, you know, fake it till you make it, doing online courses and masterclasses and all of the things that it needed. That's not me. Like, I'm the person that can facilitate the experts to do that. But if I'm spending Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, doing the coordination, I'm not living what I'm here to do. And that's connect people, empower people, support them, like face to face, be around them, like change people's lives. Like I feel like the time I spent with SA Mums in Business is a time that I'll cherish, because like I founded that from nothing, and it was something that was so needed at the time. I'm now empowered to feel like I was able to change a lot of people's lives in that time, because they found a community that's still there now, and it's doing an amazing job, but just in a different way to what I want.
Yes, there's seasons for everything, and I feel grateful to have witnessed this incredible transformation in you and see how lit up you are about this next phase. And yeah, I'm excited to see that all unfold. So when is KX Pilates Christies Beach opening, and where can we find you? Where can we keep following the Sally Harding journey?
Love that. So we open on the 22nd of January with our fingers very crossed. We're looking to be very, very positive for that. But yes, definitely in January, you will find us down there. It's currently under a fit out at the moment, which is coming along very well. So it's all very exciting. So Christmas and New Year will be nice and low key for me this year, while I just patiently peek through the windows and keep construction come apart. So yes, end of Jan. We have Instagram and Facebook for the Christies Beach studio, so you can just find us on social media at KX Pilates Christies Beach. Me myself is just my name. I'm on social media still as Sal Harding. So if you want to keep in touch with me, especially if there's any listeners on here that have been part of SA Mums in Business and may have not seen me for the last 6 months because I just stepped completely away, please connect with me. But I do also hope to get around a couple of events in the coming years and support the girls. I think that I'll definitely be sort of launching back into the networking schemes across SA and just getting around all the local businesses again, because I've just had that sort of 6-month period to step away completely, and I'm really looking forward to getting connected with everyone again and seeing what everyone's up to. But for now, I'm just living and breathing the life down at KX Pilates Christies Beach.
It's beautiful. Well, congratulations. Thank you so much for your time today and sharing all of those wonderful insights and learnings, and hopefully empowering some of our listeners to really tune into what their intuition is telling them and following their heart and make decisions that, ultimately lead to enjoying their life rather than slogging it out. So thank you, Sally. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this week's episode of Brand Lover, take a screenshot of wherever you're listening and share your biggest takeaway on Instagram or Facebook, and don't forget to tag me. I'd love to give you a shout out and thank you personally. Also, feel free to subscribe and leave a review to help the Brand Lover podcast reach more heart-aligned entrepreneurs just like yourself. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.